Good morning, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. This is the Angels in Politics broadcast, and I'm your host, the White Collar Goon, the creative and artistic manifestation of Angels in Politics. And always remember, you are the news. Um, have you had your meal today? Okay, so me neither. You're still fasting right now? Okay, you haven't broken your fast, right? All right, so that's okay. Some people listen. It's not like I'm not an advocate or a proponent of breakfast. You just have to really break down that word, break fast, breaking your fast. I just don't want to break my fast too early, so I guess I just have what would be classified my breakfast at lunch. But I'm not really too keen on breakfast food as that much, so I'll just eat lunch. But I guess I could say like, yo, you're drinking coffee, so like that's a break. You're definitely breaking your fast. But what I put it well before I even have my coffee, I drink the water, apple cider vinegar, probiotics, things like that. But in the coffee though, I mean, I put the black seed oil in the coffee. I put the maca root in the coffee. I put the ashwagandha root powder in the coffee. So it's like I don't put any milk or sugar or creamer in the coffee. No, no, no. This is just black coffee with, the organic, with the organic supplements. But even still, it keeps my body warm, and we're still in this winter season. Well, even if it's not winter, you're still drinking coffee. So I don't know. This is my way of getting into my process. Um, I want to get into a topic today, and I'm glad that you're here to have this conversation with me. It's about like, well, I'm watching an anime currently called Hunter, or Hunter X Hunter, and I want to think about your personality archetype. If you haven't, done this, I mean, this is something that I truly promote. Knowing yourself, figuring yourself out, knowing what makes you tick, knowing what drives you, figuring out your idiosyncrasies. Some of us are a bit more idiosyncratic than others, meaning we have peculiar. I guess the word we might be peculiar or peculiarities, I guess is the term. Um, but we have our own ways of doing things. We have our own ways of thinking. We have our own methods or methodologies um, that promote or that are in accordance with our behavior and how we behave in public settings, private settings, normal settings, all of these types of things. It all goes into who you are. And you might find through these personality tests, whether it's a Myers-Briggs test or Enneagram test, or what color is your parachute test, or a spiritual, the Lifeway Christian bookstore, they have an online, spiritual test to see where you are as far as what are your spiritual gifts. And I'm pretty sure, I'm almost positive, if you were to go to your church and talk to your pastor or talk to a minister, you can ask them, hey, what tests can I take, or what evaluations are there for me to figure out what my spiritual gifts are. But even with your spiritual gifts, it would be good to know what your personality archetype is, so you can know where you kind of fall in. I did something like this in college with my professor. Her name was Professor Pascal. Really cool lady, really sharp lady, very strong and driven intellectual lady. And whatever test that we took, I mean, it gave us colors, and she was a red, and she was a self-reliant, think for herself, do for herself, had to do her own thing. Even though she was a professor, she said she was adamant about never working on her birthday. That was her thing. Like, I will never work on my birthday. That was something that she decided when she was young. She will not work on her birthday. And at that time, she was a very young woman. I would say over 40, 50 years young over that. And she said to that day she has still never worked on her birthday. So she has kept that, kept that going. So she was saying she's a fiery red. And when I took my test, she found out, she was like, yeah, you're a fiery red. You're going to have to be an entrepreneur. You're going to have to do your own thing. You're going to have to find your way and carve your path, because that's who you are. So, I go into like figuring out, or we have these different metaphors as far as like your animus or your spirit animal. And I spoke about that before, because some people like animals that are well, I can't say they just like these animals. Some people's spirit animals, or their spirit animus, might be an animal that is very welcoming, very warm, very comforting, very nurturing, right? And we need we need people like that, because I think if you are of my personality archetype, which is a challenging archetype, which is a champion, confident, dominant, fiery red personality archetype, then you're not necessarily going to come to me for any type of nurturing. Like, I'm not going to be the nurturing kind of guy, or I'm not going to be necessarily warm. I'm very warm, as far as like, I think I'm warm, but at the same time, there's polarity, within our personality. So as warm and hot, or as fiery as I can be, I can bring the ice, I can bring the freeze, I can bring the cold, I can bring the direct, like, oh shit, like, you're pretty, like, straightforward, blunt, straight shooter, and I'm not ready for that. Or some people will say, like, I can't fuck with that because it hurts my feelings, or you're real, but you might be too real. And like, I've heard that before. It's just like too much for some people, because of the succinct, concise, direct verbiage or rhetoric that is used by, people who are in these types of, you know, who have these certain traits. So I want to go into that topic. You're probably wondering, how does this have to do with Hunter x Hunter? But I want to go into the topic of like predators and prey, because as a hunter, you are looking for something to be hunted. All right, you are looking for the prey. If you are the predator, you are looking for the prey. And that is the animal kingdom. That is the any type of kingdom. That is the social dominance hierarchy. That is the you know in the social dominance hierarchy, or any type of hierarchy, there is something. There are methods, and there are constructs, and there are actions that take place for that animal, or for that person, or for that individual, whatever, to rise to the top, to be the apex, the leader, the dominant, the domineering, the alpha, the okay. So you have that, but up top. But it's not like you wake up in the morning, it's like, oh, I'm alpha, oh, I'm the apex, oh, I'm the apex predator, oh, I'm the top-notch guy, or I'm the top-notch girl, or I'm the leader girl. Like, because a lot of times we feel like the alpha personality archetype is always attributed to men, but that's not true. There are alpha females, there are alpha women, there are plenty of alpha females, and the chances are them, you just don't fuck with them. Or them, they're just your boss. Them, they're just CEOs. Them, they're just, the owner of their own law practice, the owner of their law firm, or they have moved out and they're away from you and they're doing their own thing. They might be living in the farm somewhere. They might be living in the tree somewhere, and they're in their own intentional community, and they're running their own, commune. They might be running their own community. They might be, regardless of how you look at it, some people don't take orders well from men, and I figured out that sometimes, especially in Western society, particularly in the humanities and universities, a lot of information, and a lot of I would say professors are pushing this ideology of like patriarchy being the white men, or the ones who are pushing, promoting, or preventing you from rising to the top, or being self-actualized, or men alpha dominant men are the ones that are telling you what to do and are, blocking you from your, you know, accomplishments, your aspirations, your dreams. But the truth of the matter is, if you were to remove men and it was just all women in a university, or all women in the business field, or all women at a church, or all women in the community, there would still be the same exact hierarchical structure, and there will be the same type of push and pull or actions in place or constructs in place to figure out who will be on top, and the person on top will still give you the same direction, the same dominant, domineering, prominent, confident, self-reliant behavior. The only thing is, it'll just be coming from a woman. I mean, if you remove like male generals, there will be women generals. If you remove male captains and colonels, there will be, and there are, women colonels, captains, and generals. And they're not soft, they're not nice, they're not gentle, they're not nurturing. It's like it's not gonna happen, right? So you have to understand who you are. You have to figure out who you are. Are you going to be the hunter? Are you going to be the hunted? And it is okay if you are a more nurturing, comforting, agreeable, warm person, and that is your animus, and that is your personality, and that is your persona that you even put up. You are an agreeable person. You aren't confrontational. I'm not that way. I am a nonconformist. I am confrontational. I am a challenging person. I will challenge myself. If you're a close friend of mine, I will challenge you. Even if you're not a close friend of mine, and you are doing things that I don't agree with, I will challenge that. I will challenge that. When I was working at Macy's, I had a manager. You have a few managers. I was a manager. I was a sales manager, but then I had an upper level manager. And her name was Jillian, and she's a really sharp, really strong-minded, really in your face kind of woman, right? So it's not you with this personality archetype. You might think, oh, well, it's only guys like that. No, no, no. She would bite your head off. She would come after you with hell hath no fucking fury. She was at you like boom, 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 and she needed to be that way because we were in Brooklyn. We were over there. We were in fucking, past Kings Highway, past, past Flatbush. We was out there in Brooklyn. So this wasn't, we weren't in the small town mall in North Dakota. We weren't in small town mall in Wyoming. We weren't in small town mall in Albuquerque, somewhere in New Mexico. That wasn't where we were. We weren't in Santa Fe out there. Shout out to those people out there. We weren't in Utah. Okay? So the thing was, we were near Marine Park. Okay? We were past Utica Ave. Okay? So like when she was the boss, she was type A, fucking aggressive, and told you straight up how it was. And she was like that because this is the environment. The weak will be chewed up and spit the fuck out and swallowed up and stepped on and forgotten, and nobody will do anything. Nobody's out here to save you. Nobody's out here to hold your hand. Nobody's out here to help you. You deserve nothing in this world. You must command it. You must challenge it. You must come in and receive it. But it's not going to be by some, oh, I'm just a nice person and I'm just doing the right things and I got my head down and I'm afraid to speak my mind. Well, you weren't going to be working there. Not as a manager, and you weren't going to make it because you weren't going to have that respect from your staff. You weren't going to have that respect from the customer and the clientele. You weren't going to have that respect from the leadership and upper management and corporate management. When the corporate management came in walking around, you need to have your shoulders square. You need to have your head raised. You need to be speaking clearly. You need to look at somebody in the eyes. When you shake hands, it needs to be a firm hand fucking shake. Because any sign of weakness, especially in New York City, especially in downtown Brooklyn, especially in Flatbush, Brooklyn, especially in Kings Plaza, you will be exposed. You will be exposed. So one day, it was actually my last day there. And I was leaving And I was saying my goodbyes to the people. Some people didn't even know that was my last day, but like management knew. And before I left, they were like, "Yo, Jillian wants to speak to you upstairs." And I was like, "Really?" Because she really wasn't really fucking with I didn't think she was really fucking with me when I was here. When I was working here. Like, if I had known anything, I thought she was the person who did not want to speak to me. But I'm glad she did that because I pulled up and I sat down and I was like, "How are things going?" And whatever the case may be. And she was like, "Gabe, did you feel that I was hard on you?" And I was like, "Yeah, I would say so. Like that could be an understatement, but yeah, yeah." But she was like, "Do you know why I was that way with you?" And I said, "No, like tell me." I said, "Well, maybe because you expected a lot out of me." And she says, "Exactly. I saw that you were intelligent. I saw that you had high levels of, communicative skills. I saw that people liked you. I saw that, but I also saw that as a detriment too." She also saw that because I was such a likable person and a people person and this like my personality archetype, the campaigner, you were this like almost like this politician and people just liked you and you shook hands and kissed babies and that is all well and good. That's all well and good. But your team wasn't it wasn't that they didn't work hard, but you didn't challenge your team to get that level of excellence, to achieve that benchmark of excellence. If you're a general, if you're a commander, if you're the captain of a ship, you being the nice guy and the laid back cool guy and you don't raise your voice and you're so laid back and you're so passive and you're so chill because you wake up in the morning and you put on a cool suit and you smoke weed before work, so you just like are going with the flow. Listen, that is all well and good in your small town world, or in your mediocre world, or in your vicinity of complacency and comfort and convenience, like 98% of the fucking world is. But if you want to achieve excellence, because she could see something in me, like, yo, you have the capabilities to be not only a next level manager, you could have your own fucking you could have your own store. And not have your own Macy's. You could have your own business. You could have whatever the fuck you want, Gabe. You could have it. But you're gonna have to change this. Yo, I'm chilling. Yo, I'm cool. Yo, like it's nice to meet you. Smooth, suave. I want to talk to the ladies. Oh, that's all cool. But you must challenge people, Gabe. She was telling me you have to challenge people. And when you saw her, motherfuckers were scared of Jillian. I'm gonna be real. People were scared of her. Men were. Women were. They didn't want to go up to her office. Because she was going to be talking fast and she was going to be talking straight and she was going to be talking direct and she was going to let you know how she fucking felt. Straight like that. And I found out through my management, through the other sales managers, everybody had a lot to say when upper management wasn't around, when we had our own meetings, because we had meetings every fucking day. I mean, multiple times a day too. So it's like every time we were in a meeting without store manager, without vice president manager, without the whatever manager, oh, everybody was griping and they had complaints and they had so much to say and they were loud and they were expressive. And I would be sitting there listening. But then I found out, just like how it always is, I'm the outlier here. I'm the anomaly here, because all of you motherfucking people got a lot to say. But now whenever it's management here, now when the top dogs are here, now when homegirl is here, who's speaking? Who's speaking now? Who has the words now? If you find out all those people who were talking, now they get quiet. You know why? Because they weren't really about that life. They're not the type, and it's not a bad thing. If there is a dominance hierarchy, these are the people who are openly showing you and expressing to you and articulating to you through their behavior by fucking manifestation. They are not the people who are on top of this pyramid. They don't want to be. I'm gonna tell you that for sure. And they shouldn't be. That's for fuck sure. 98% of people do not want to be apex. They do not want to be alpha. They do not want to face the boss on the top. They don't want to express themselves because they have fear. Man, I got kids, I got bills to pay, I got a mortgage. I got married. I'm married, and my wife don't. My wife needs me at home at 5 o'clock. I mean, I got to pick up the kids, man. I mean, I got some shit going on and that I can't really fight these battles. Gabe, you can do it. Gabe, you can challenge them. That's who you are. So really, whenever I was talking to Jillian, she was really telling me like, you have to get out of your comfort zone. But deep down, I am a challenger. I am non-confrontational. That's the reason why I had to leave Macy's. But like, I mean, she was telling me that for the future, meaning you need to challenge people to get the best out of them. But even though that's my personality type, I have to think about the polarity and be like, maybe you can get the best out of people as well in a different way than the way that you would receive it, right? For me, I'm self-reliant, self-motivated, self-confident. I can wake up in the morning and do the exercises. I can take myself out of my comfort zone and push myself in this environment. I can motivate myself about being like, you will get this done. There is no other options. You did not come here. You were not placed on this fucking planet to fail, to be mediocre. Mediocrity is failure. But there's a lot of people who says mediocrity is just fine with me. Mediocrity is way okay with me.